It's here, guys. Fresh from space. Let's get into it. Today's the day. The cool and affordable Argon SpaceOne watches are officially live on Kickstarter. Go check out the links below because the brushed titanium and carbon versions are limited to only 100 pieces. I'll wait, guys. Okay. So now that you're back, let's dive into the new releases. I'm very excited to show you these watches, mainly because I'm such a geek for independent watchmaking. As you all know, we featured some really crazy watches on this channel before, but the crazier the complicated they get, the higher the price point. Today's release isn't following these footsteps, it's time for the new kids on the block. The Kickstarter launch consists of a total of 5 different models. The brushed titanium and carbon models, limited to only 100 pieces, which I'm sure will sell out quickly. Then we have the polished steel version as well as the blue titanium and brushed steel, which I don't have here today, but I have these very sick pictures to show how they look. When you dive deep into collecting watches, you can go a few directions. You can buy something that looks pretty mainstream, or we could also say established, or you can wander into the world of crazy watches which at first glance don't look like watches at all. It's like with cars. For example, you can buy a nice BMW or Mercedes-Benz, or you can aspire and work your butt off to one day purchase a Koenigsegg, Pagani, or maybe like a nice De Tomaso. Of course, there's levels to this. Usually watches like Urwerk, MB&F, Debetune and others that look like this cost a lot of money. They are aspirational watches, and when you see them in a magazine or online, you just wonder how cool it would be to have one on the wrist. You would feel like a spaceman or someone straight out of a sci-fi movie. The goal of Theo, Auffret and Guillaume Laidet is to bring the crazy expensive down to crazy and affordable. To give more people the opportunity to wear watches that look like they would cost $100,000 for a price point of below $2,000. That's the ideology behind the company they created, and the Argon SpaceOne is just the beginning. As I found out, there will be more models coming out in the coming years. They will aim to create approximately one per year to really fuel the niche market, which is growing year over year. So after this Kickstarter campaign for the SpaceOne is over, that's it. The model is gone, blasted into oblivion, and most probably the grey market. The last watch which was well priced as well was, for example, the MB&F's creation, the Mad 1, and we all saw the big impact and demand they received. I'm a fan of this. I love how these young guys are creating something for their peers and people that are younger to be able to wear something crazy. If I look back at when I started collecting watches, I would much rather buy this than the ceramic Rado watch that I bought for about 2,000 francs back in 2012. We had Theo on the channel before, and he's a serious watchmaker, a winner of the FP Jones Watchmaking Award, as well as a movement developer and designer. His usual watches are priced above the $100,000 mark, and I love them. Essentially, he's a geek. Someone that I love to have in my corner, as well as when creating a watch like this. His passion for designing futuristic watches and passion for cars and aviation sparked this idea. When he met Guillaume Laidet at a Baltic Watches party in Paris, they had a conversation and decided to grab a cup of coffee afterwards. For those who don't know, Guillaume is the entrepreneur behind the relaunch of Nevada Grand Chien, Excelsior Park, and now is the new guy behind the Vulcan watch brand strategy. A great combination of a salesman or entrepreneur and a brilliant watchmaker. The shape of the case is out of this world, but the watches are still assembled on Earth. All the assembly is done in Paris by Theo and his team, and the jump power mechanism has also been developed by Theo himself, so you can be assured that it will work like a dream. It's not a cheap jump power module. The system is made out of additional 9 components on top of a reliable Soprod P024 automatic movement with a 38-hour power reserve. Soprod is a Swiss movement manufacturer owned by the Festina Group. The plate that connects to the caliber supports a spring and an intermediate wheel. The minute disc is fixed onto an axis, including a driving finger which orders the jump. The jumping wheel spins on the main axis and jumps with help of the spring. All the components are manufactured in Switzerland. Once you check the link below the video, you'll be able to read all about it on the Kickstarter page. As someone who owns a fair amount of watches, I personally will go for the forged carbon version. I don't own a forged carbon watch yet, so I think this is the perfect time to get one. I love the texture and sporty look of it. It's also the lightest watch from all the available models. The weight of the forged carbon model is only 30 grams, excluding the strap. The titanium models weigh 60 grams and the stainless steel models weigh approximately 90 grams, all essentially very light on the wrist. The case width is 51.67mm, lug to lug is approximately 42mm, a thickness of 12.6mm, and a lug width of 22mm, so you can really change straps easily. Here you can also see how the watches look on my 18.7cm wrist size or 7.4 inches, so you can see and compare it to yours. I'm also a fan of the blue titanium piece, which thankfully isn't limited. The blue hue is excellent and unique, and again just something you don't find around, especially the price point of 1,900 euros. The overall design reminds me of the Debetone Dreamwatch 5, a watch that costs 150,000 euros. One of my favorite watches of all time, especially from a high horology brand like Debetone. Now you can own something similar for a fraction of the price. The front side of the watch features clean lines, curves and levels. The jump hour disc complication is very interesting on its own. The hour disc is made out of brass and the minute disc is floating above it and is actually made out of sapphire. If you observe how I change the time here, you can see how the hours jump, the minutes wander, and the system works flawlessly. Above the hour and minute disc is the so-called cockpit. It's made out of scratch-resistant sapphire crystal, so your spaceship will be safe once it starts traveling with you during your busy everyday activities. When you turn the watch around, on the back there's an opening where you can see the automatic movement doing his job. It's a screwed-on case pack with a few inscriptions on it. Here we can find the name of the brand Argon, which was inspired by the noble gas, number 18 on the periodic table of elements. It always says where the watch is manufactured, for now it's still on Earth, and the founders Theo, Auffret and Guillaume, Laidet. The packaging is also inspired by the vacuum system used to package food for space travel. The watch comes in a sealed bag, which I had the pleasure of opening in the beginning, and a cool box. You can essentially use the box also for traveling. The Kickstarter campaign is live. It's also good to know that all the models will be available from the start of the 4 weeks campaign, but none of these models will be available after the Kickstarter is finished. So if you want one, now's the time. You can either purchase each one separately, or there's a few packages available. For example, you can buy the polished stainless steel and the brushed stainless steel together for 3,000 euros. You can buy the polished stainless steel together with the blue titanium for 3,040 euros, or you can get the package of 3 watches together, 2 stainless steel, polished and brushed, as well as the blue titanium for 4,900 euros. Let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite and which one will you choose. I'm curious to see what you guys like. I know that I can't wait to get mine, and I want to also congratulate Theo, Guillaume and the whole team for creating this piece of affordable art. Go support the next generation of cool watchmakers, share the video with somebody you think would like to own something like this as well. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you next week.